Most of us, we think of a blessing as a big promotion or maybe a new house or just a really healthy bank account.
Right, the tangible things.
Exactly. But what if the ultimate blessing requires you to be completely, utterly bankrupt? Welcome, word community, to today's deep reflection.
It is so great to be here with you all.
Like, after a chaotic week filled with global news and World Cup headlines, it is time to step away from the noise. We want to invite you to go up the mountain, so to speak, and reflect on the Sunday message delivered at Hong Kong Cheil Church.
And even if you missed the service, we're looking at something so foundational today, one of the most famous, and I mean arguably the most misunderstood sentences ever spoken.
Yeah, Matthew 5.3, I'll just read it for us. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
It's just such a jarring statement when you stop and actually listen to it. Jesus' definition of a blessing completely short-circuits how human society operates.
So let's look at that short circuit for a second, because, when people post about being blessed online, it's usually attached to a picture of a new car or a beach vacation.
Oh, absolutely. #blessed.
Right. They certainly aren't talking about spiritual poverty.
No, they aren't. And to see the disconnect, we really need to dig into the original languages from Sunday's text. In this sermon, the Greek word Jesus used is makarioi.
Okay, makarioi.
Yeah, but to Jewish listeners, that concept echoes the Hebrew word esher. If you look at Psalm 1, Esher paints this picture of a tree planted by streams of water. It's about being deeply rooted in a right, continuous relationship with God.
Wait, so if Esher is about the relationship side of things, what is the word for the actual beach vacations and new cars?
Oh, that would be baraka. We see that all the way back in Genesis 1. God blesses humanity, he gives them baraka to be fruitful and multiply. It refers to tangible material provisions like wealth, health, and power.
Okay, I think I get it. It's like this. Baraka is essentially a fully stocked toolbox.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
You get the hammer, the nails, the shiny new saw. But Esher, that deeper blessing Jesus is talking about, is having the relationship with the master builder, plus the wisdom and character to actually construct something beautiful for God with those tools.
Yes, and taking that analogy a step further, actually using those tools according to the master builder's blueprint, creates what we might call a holy stress.
Let's define that. Why is it stressful to use good tools?
Well, because your human instinct wants to take that hammer and build a comfortable, secure mansion for yourself.
Right.
Naturally, but God's blueprint might be asking you to build a hospital for others, fighting your own convenience and desires to follow. His blueprint is exhausting. That friction between your will and God's will, that is the holy stress.
That friction makes a lot of sense, but I have to push back on something here.
Go for it.
If Jesus is focused so heavily on this spiritual posture, being poor in spirit, why did he spend so much time healing literal physical sickness and feeding people who were physically poor? Doesn't the material reality, the baraka, matter at all?
Oh, it matters immensely. But Jesus was addressing a deeply toxic cultural assumption here. In the historical context of the first century, physical poverty and sickness were viewed as literal curses from God.
Wow, really?
Yeah, society looked at the poor and the sick and basically said, well, you must have done something wrong to deserve this.
That is brutal.
It is. So by saying, blessed are the poor in spirit, Jesus is dismantling that hierarchy entirely.
So he's saying that lacking physical wealth doesn't mean God cursed you, but the real goal is recognizing you are spiritually bankrupt.
Yes, exactly. Being poor in spirit means realizing you have absolutely nothing to offer on your own. It's someone desperately begging and thirsting for God, regardless of the size of their bank account.
Which means this profound spiritual emptiness can strike those who are materially wealthy too.
Oh, definitely.
You can have the money, the status, the toolbox completely full and suddenly realize those worldly things cannot save you. Your spirit is still starving.
Right. And if being spiritually bankrupt is this crucial individual realization, we have to look at what happens when a whole building full of people haven't figured that out yet. How does that affect a community like Hong Kong Cheil Church?
That is where the rubber meets the road. Because the kingdom of heaven isn't just a future destination in the clouds, it is actively being built today.
But if a community lacks true peace, or if it feels fractured, it is usually because the individuals inside it are acting as their own kings.
Which brings to mind that intense observation from Judges 21.25. In those days, Israel had no king. Everyone did as he saw fit.
When everyone does what makes sense in their own eyes, when they prioritize their own convenience or their own architectural plans over the master builders, you don't get heaven.
you get chaos.
Yeah, exactly. You get a room full of people swinging hammers in completely different directions.
So for Hong Kong Child Church to truly reflect heaven, the prerequisite is spiritual poverty. The community has to be filled with people who are desperately thirsty for God's guidance, rather than leaning on their own earthly comfort or opinions.
It really all comes down to a question of real estate. Stepping off the throne of your own life is the only way to make enough room for God to actually govern.
Word community, thank you for pausing your day to join us in this deep reflection.
Yes, thank you for being here with us.
As you carry Sunday's message into the rest of your week, we want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. If true spiritual poverty means completely stepping off the throne of your own life, to rely on God.
Which is incredibly hard to do.
Totally. So when you face a stressful decision tomorrow, who will actually be sitting on the throne of your heart? Will it be God's will or your own convenience?